Bread is one of Nigeria's main staple, but it's about to get out of the reach of the common man. This is owing to rising costs, which may soon be compounded by artificial scarcity. Bread producers and caterers have threatened to embark on nationwide strike due to rising costs of baking materials and seeming neglect of the problems in the sector by the federal government. The bakers are lamenting that the costs of flour, sugar, and other ingredients used in baking are now out of control. In a communique issued by the Association of Master Bakers and Caterers of Nigeria after its National Executive Council meeting in Abuja, they vowed to down tools from the 13th of July. Bread. Something we used to buy for...
We are back again.
I don't know.
We're back again to the bread debate. And remember what happened the onset of the French Revolution, when the people said they could not get bread, and Queen Antoinette said, then give them cake. So, I mean, and all hell broke loose.
Substitute.
All hell broke loose. So, what are you now going to substitute bread with? Because it's a staple, and it's something that cuts across classes. But there are different types of bread products. The unfortunate thing is that almost all the things used in making bread, except water, are imported. So how is government going to deal with this problem? Just have about 3 weeks or so to find a solution. Otherwise, they are saying they will just even go on strike, because even continuously increasing the price of bread products will not even bring a solution. The dollar and the naira keep having, a fight which is not in favor of the naira. So then they're also complaining about the way regulatory agencies keep taxing them, closing down their bakeries and all of that. And of course, I have been, a part of that industry, and I do know that it's necessary to check the excesses of some of these agencies. NAFDAC, SON, there's another one, Nesrea. I don't know what Nesrea has to do with, the industry. I mean, you just come, close a bakery arbitrarily, and this is a bakery employing so many people, making sure that the economy keeps moving. And then you forget that when you shut down a bakery over something that can easily be resolved, you can even maybe give them some time and say, okay, correct this, correct. But some of these officials are so overzealous. They just go shut down. And when you shut down, you now place a fine on somebody, on a bakery. You say, 1 million naira. And then you forget the fact that for the days the bakery is shut, it's not bringing any money. So that means they are going to either fall back on any money they have in the bank, or they go and borrow. And then how do they make it up? They'll be owing the workers. And you say the economy is in a mess. I think some of these issues that are within the immediate control of the government should be dealt with. Then we need to really be serious about this local substitution. Diversifying the economy. We need to get serious about some of these things. Otherwise, we will just keep dancing, pretending to be moving forward.
Emeka said something that, apart from water, that's every other material that we use for this, we import it. And is that not the beginning of the problem?
That's the beginning of the problem. But that is the core of the problem. And you know what boggles my mind? Last year, the bread makers also threatened strike, citing the same reasons.
Oh.
So it means nothing has changed. According to NBS, and we are even spending more money now to import some of those ingredients used. Look at cane sugar, for example. Cane sugar, according to NBS, say import surged by 61.31%. That's the cost of import of cane sugar to Nigeria last year. Behind wheat surged by over 70-something%. Why? Rising cost of dollar would definitely mean that we're going to spend more on imports. Now, when you are spending more on imports, it means it's going to affect the cost of those the ingredients. These are common men. You call it Nigeria's main staple. It's the common man's main staple. The common man, if he sees ordinarily 100 naira worth of bread with 150 naira bottle of Coca-Cola, you can have his lunch is made for many, some of the common
Or
men.
even water.
Yes.
Water,
Thank you
tap
very
water.
much. Or
with bread.
groundnuts.
That's all.
But
You're
now,
going too far to
if
say
bread
something.
is out of reach of the common man, what is left again?
Will he drink only water?
So you are going to have serious food crisis. You know,
It's just
you know,
like
you know what
this
bother,
now.
you know what keeps
Right now.
bothering me is that the problem is not new. The problem is not new. They complained about this last year. Nothing has happened. This year it's happening. Next year we'll hear the story if it is not addressed. And the issue of local substitution is very important. Why can't we begin to? When are we going to start producing some of these things, the ingredients that are used? You understand? Instead of refining sugar, when are we going to have our own, start with our
Well,
own
our sugar factories. Where are they?
raw sugar, flour, all of these things? Why are we still importing that? Why are we importing wheat? It is well.
Jigawa State can produce wheat.
It is well. It is well with Nigeria. Let me go. They say it is well, but it is actually not well with Nigeria now. May it be well.
Okay. Jide, we've had the chairman of this association severally on Journalist Hangout on Sunday, and as according to what Paul said, it has always been the same complaint, and the atmosphere is no longer conducive. And to even regulate the price, I don't know, it's no longer as accessible as it used to be.
Now, I was speaking with one of the master bakers that I met in Abuja. He's actually based in Lokoja. I met him in Abuja, and he was giving me some prices. Let me just go over the current prices of these ingredients and what it used to be 1.5 years ago. Remember the premium bread that I used to buy at 250 naira, 200 and then 250 naira about 1.5 years ago is now 850. From 200, 250 to 850. That is what we are going through. In Sudan, Gafar Nemeri was chased away when the people revolted over rising price of bread. The French Revolution began after people felt angry over the rising cost of bread. So if we look back into history, we will see that governments had fallen because of high price of bread, because bread is the food of the poorest of the poor. If it now gets beyond the reach of the poor, then it means that the poor are in trouble. And when the poor are in trouble, they could revolt, they
society will
could
be in
take the
trouble.
law into their hands. Yes. There's no reason why something meant for the poor should now get out of their reach, should be slipping through their fingers. So let's start with diesel. Diesel, up to March this year, was sold at around 225 naira per liter. Today, diesel is 850 naira per liter. They need diesel to fire their engines to keep their ovens running. Flour, 1.5 years ago, flour was 23,000 per 50 kg bag. It is now 30,000. In fact, they said from Monday it will be sold at 30,000. Butter was 5,700 1.5 years ago. Butter is now 20,000 naira.
5,000.
Sugar was 6,500 1.5 years ago. Sugar is now 27,000 naira. There is something called softener, which makes bread fluffy, which makes bread soft.
Over.
It was 300,000 naira 1.5 years ago. It is now 600,000 naira today. Powdered milk powdered milk was 29,000 per bag 1.5 years ago. It is now 75,000. Yeast, which is very important in making bread, in baking bread, was 7,500 naira 1.5 years ago. Yeast is now 22,000 naira. Going back to flour, a quantity of flour that used to be sold 8,300 naira 1.5 years ago is now 30,000. In fact, I've been told that from Monday it will start selling for 30,000, but it's currently 23,000. So from Monday, flour will start selling at 30,000 naira for a 50 kg bag from 23,000 that is being sold today. So how can their business grow? A lot of them have been forced to close shop. When they close shop, more unemployment will be created. So it's extremely difficult now to live in our country. If we talk to Northerners, people in the north, where I am now, people in Sokoto, there is something called gumi. Gumi is local rice. The high cost of local rice is a big concern to our people in Sokoto. They can't understand anything can be costly, but they can't stand gumi costing as much as the price now. Yet we say we are encouraging people to grow rice. But the local rice is extremely expensive. It's now slipping beyond the reach, even of the poor people. So more and more people, more and more conditions that led to wanton bloodletting in some countries, that led to revolutions in some countries. We are seeing it now in our country. It has to be addressed. Food insecurity is a big problem. That has to be addressed. If we go on like this, with prices just going up without anybody attempting any form of intervention, honestly, we are playing with fire. We are sitting on a keg of gunpowder. This is the way I want to submit on this matter.
And thank you, BQ. And when you look at the purchasing power, when you look at people's earning, you can see that
Naira has already lost 70% of its value. That
and
is
we're still talking about
big problem.
30,000 naira minimum wage, and that's like dead on arrival.
Some states are still even paying, they are even owing workers for months. So I don't know, and then the population keeps growing.
Yeah, that's one thing.
People
we
are
have to
having
work on.
children, no?
That's what.
So
that's one thing that we have
the
to.
point is that, you know, the urban centers are getting overwhelmed because people are leaving
Yes.
farming settlements.
There's pressure
you
on
know.
the infrastructure.
So people are flooding into different areas. That's why you saw the upsurge in Okada riders. You know, okay, fine, you've chased them away from Lagos, but they are going into the hinterlands, also creating problems in those places. So the point is that there must be a break-even point, because this administration cannot pretend to be helpless on all points, in every area. I mean, there must be certain areas of relief, because you can't run a nation like this where there is nothing, there is no area you can say, okay, people can, even when people go to places of worship where they have some, at least they can have some form of solitude to meditate. You see criminals going after them in those places. Then where is the point? Where is the relief point for the Nigerian?
Ondo State governor is telling churches,
CCTV.
mosque, everybody.
CCTV. Is it people who are hungry that will be? You are saying that who are hungry that will be setting up CCTV. You see, many of these religious organizations are paying school fees, feeding people, taking care of the homeless. You are now adding burdens to them. Oh, come on.
Just for our security.
What are we? Yes. Well, what we did.
The implication of all of this is that Nigerians are getting poorer. Ayo, if I buy this thing today at 10 naira and I buy it at 20 naira tomorrow, if my income has not increased, it means I am poorer. What the implication is that Nigerians are getting poorer and poorer. Even the minimum wage you're talking about, 30,000.
How many are paying?
What can you, even those who are paying, what
the
can
value?
you purchase? What's the value? We've talked about the French Revolution. See, when you push, I'm not praying for it, but people react sometimes. When you push someone to the wall and you are still pushing the person, they back against the wall, what does the person do? They push you back. And it might not be nice when they push you back. You might fall down and die. The
wall can even fall on top of.
But then, this is not, we're having crisis now. There was a global recession at the time, Frank, the man on wheelchair, when he was president of America, and he managed the situation.
Yes, FDR, yes.
Yes. There is a way this thing can be managed. We can't just give up and say, look, there is fate accomplished. No. We can manage it. If we have the will to do so, it can be managed.
Jide, from our estimation, if we look at a state like Lagos State that, is even rated as the second most difficult state to live in the world, and, and in Nigeria, we still rate Lagos as the best state. That's the best we have to produce. That shows you that things are not looking rosy.
Yes, they are not. More and more people are moving into Lagos because they think there are opportunities there. After Lagos, the fastest growing city is Abuja. And that's why Abuja now is clogged. I'm sure you saw all of that when you traveled for coverage of the primaries. Abuja will eventually become a slum, a glorified slum, at the rate that is going. Because people are coming in, they think that the opportunities are there. Once opportunities are limited in the rural centers, people will come to the urban centers and crime will increase in those places. Crime will increase. People will be struggling for the fuel infrastructure available, So it's terrible. Can you compare Lagos, for example, to a Monaco? It will amount to comparing heaven and hell. So there is a lot that needs to be done. Fundamental changes need to happen in the way we even run the government in Nigeria. Government must be run properly in a manner that gets everybody involved, in a manner that brings joy to the generality, to the overwhelming majority of our people. If we can't deliver joy to the majority of our people, then government has no meaning. Government has no reason to be in power. So Nigerian leaders need to sit up and tell themselves that, look, the people who have voted for us, they deserve much better than we are giving them. Once they have that at the back of their minds, that the people deserve much better than they are giving them, they can begin to change their ways and begin to focus on how to deliver governance that gets everybody involved, that makes the generality of our people happier.